Hello, and welcome back to Reid Talks. On the last two episodes, we were talking about the book Rosalind Franklin, The Dark Lady of DNA by Brenda Maddox. We had the opportunity to talk to Colin Franklin, Rosalind's brother, and Dr. James Watson. Last time we asked you, the listeners, to send in any questions you may have had about the book or Rosalind. The first question from Ned Ian. Why did Rosalind decide to do research in biology? The book described the Second World War in great detail, the rise of Adolf Hitler in Germany and the many bombings of cities around Europe, including the Blitz in London. Franklin herself was assigned the task of getting people into cover when the sirens went off, though she hated it. The reason I mention all this is because the science advancements made during the Second World War all had to do with death. For example, the atomic bomb, which was powerful enough to wipe out a whole city in one go. Many scientists, including Franklin, felt that it was time to move on from the science of death and start advancing the study of life, biology. Biology is entirely about the study of life, so it was a fitting field of research. It's quite interesting that Franklin chose to study biology after university, however, because in her school days she said she enjoyed physics and chemistry more. Joshua Kim asks, why did Maurice Wilkins decide to give Watson and Crick Photo 51 without Franklin's notice? In the book, it describes Franklin and Maurice as friendly, but not actual friends. Franklin came to the university while Wilkins was on holiday, so when he came back, Franklin had transformed his lab and taken his student Raymond Gosling. However, like I said, both were still friendly to each other and would occasionally go out for lunch. Franklin loved to cook and would invite her parents over every Saturday for dinner. Eventually, she started inviting others for dinner, including other members of her family and even some of her co-workers. She had invited Raymond and his wife over a couple nights, but never Wilkins. It seems Wilkins took offense to this. Aaron Moses asks, what research had been done on DNA before Franklin, Watson, and Crick began? There was some research, but DNA was still a new topic in science. Scientists had discovered that DNA held the transforming properties that genes had. It was also discovered that DNA was made from 4 nitrogenous bases, adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine, and the amount of adenine and guanine, which are purines, was equal to the amount of thymine and cytosine, pyrimidines, in DNA. The discovery Franklin, Watson, and Crick made was critical to learning more about DNA and genetics. Gabriel Na asks, was Franklin mad about Watson and Crick's use of Photo 51 in their 3D model? She probably was, but only for a shortened time. After her research at King's College, she moved to Birkbeck College and began doing research there. She studied stuff like RNA and had several more papers published in scientific journals. Her life moved on after Photo 51, so she couldn't have been too upset over the whole ordeal. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much for listening to myself and my guests talk about this book for the past 3 episodes. We appreciate your continued support. If you haven't, I would recommend picking up Rosalind Franklin, The Dark Lady of DNA. Even if you don't have any background in biology, it's still an interesting read as it talks more about Rosalind Franklin than it does actual science. I give this book a 4.5 out of 5 on the read meter. Thank you very much for listening. Good night.